Welcome to Plutus Project-Based Learning 2023 from Gimbal Labs. Thank you for taking a look at this lesson. The new module is called Build a Front-End dApp Template, and this is the first 200-level module in the course. The first four modules are what we call the onboarding modules, and they're numbered in the 100s, 100 through 103. Now we're moving on to the Building Background Knowledge part of the course, or BBK. So what's different about Module 201? As you move from onboarding to building background knowledge, you'll notice a few things. First, each of the next few modules is very focused on one particular part of the development stack. In this module, for example, we will focus on how to build front ends for Cardano applications. In the next module, we'll focus on different ways to mint tokens. In each of the next few modules, we will really focus on learning with examples. In many of the upcoming lessons, you will be provided with an example and some suggestions for how to start using it. The videos for many of these lessons will be recorded live at Live Coding, and I'm excited to see what we can do with these interactive sessions. In order to get ready to follow along with these live sessions, you'll need to be able to run a Next.js project on your computer. And in this video, I'll provide a quick overview of how to do that for the first time. You might be familiar with the development stack we will use, and if you've already used JavaScript and you have Node.js installed, maybe you have some React and Next.js experience, you could probably skip this video and jump straight into the documentation provided in lesson 201.2 and beyond. But if you've never used this stack before, this video will provide a brief overview of how to get up and running. JavaScript is a very popular programming language for web applications. Node.js is the development environment for JavaScript development. React is a popular library that can be used to structure a JavaScript project. And Next.js is a framework built on top of React that makes it even easier to build React applications. Next takes care of a lot of the boilerplate that you would need to write if you were starting from scratch in React. So let's take a look at how to get started. In the documentation below this video, you'll see some links to official documentation. If you were able to get Plutus up and running on your computer, you'll probably find that installing Node.js is a little bit easier. It's a lot more established than Plutus. It's been around for years, and millions of people use it. You can follow the instructions here to get started on your operating system. And if you get stuck, just be sure to ask for help. You can read the full documentation at this link, and you'll see that we're actually using a tool called NVM. This stands for Node Version Manager, and I'll show you how to use it right now. If you follow the steps linked in this lesson and you're successful, you should be able to type node-version and npm-version to see that you have each of these tools installed. If you follow the documentation here, you'll also have a tool called NVM installed. You can see that I do. And what NVM allows us to do is change Node and NPM versions quickly. By typing nvm-help, I can see some examples of how to use it. And if you ever have problems running a JavaScript project on your computer, NVM might come in handy because it can allow you to run different versions of Node on your computer. You probably won't have to worry about this now, but because you're installing it from this documentation, I just want you to know what NVM does. So once again, if you've got Node and NPM installed, you're ready to go. Now in the documentation here, step 2 is optional. You might also decide to use Yarn as an alternative to NPM for package management. I just want to mention this because you might often see me using Yarn. It's a slight personal preference. And because you'll see NPM side by side with Yarn in a lot of documentation. For example, as shown here. The key thing to understand is that you're only going to use one or the other, NPM or Yarn, and not both. So if you start off by typing npm install, when you initially get the project running, just make sure to continue using npm. And the same goes for Yarn. To distinguish between the two, here are some quick examples. Anytime you see npm install, you could run Yarn in its place if you have Yarn installed. If you see npm run dev, Yarn dev will accomplish the same thing. And anytime you want to install new packages, for example, mesh, npm install is just like running yarn add with the package name. And this applies to any package name. Once you have Node and your preferred package manager installed, you can navigate to GitLab in a web browser, following this link right here. From here, you can follow some of the steps outlined in Lesson 103.1. I'm logged into GitLab, so I should be able to fork this repository. I'll tap that button, choose a namespace for my fork, and then I can fork the project. Once I do this, I'll have my own copy of this repository with my own username in the URL for the repo. This is good. This means it's my own copy of the project, and I can do whatever I want to it, including break it entirely without risking any mistakes that would impact the original code base. Great. Once you have a fork of this project, copy the URL either from your address bar or by clicking on the clone button over here. And then navigate to your development environment where you can clone the repository. For example, I'm in a PPBL 2023 directory on this computer, and I can type git clone, paste that link, and clone the repo. Once again, notice that this is my copy of the project, not the original one from Gimbal Labs. That's good. I can cd into this new directory, and because I happen to be using Yarn, right here I can type Yarn. But you could just as well type npm install if that's your preferred approach. Either one will work. Try it. I'll use Yarn. What's happening right now is the package manager is looking for all of the packages that are used in this project. I can see a list of those packages if I open the package.json file. And you'll see that this starter has all sorts of packages already installed. We're going to use some of them in the next few lessons. Others are provided here for your convenience. And with some of them, you might already have other preferences. Feel free to replace them. At the end of this module, the instructions for how to build this template on your own are provided. For now, let's just take a look at it. Now that I've successfully run yarn or npm install and the packages are installed, I can run the template locally on my computer. When I do, I can see that I can access this website in the browser at localhost 3000. Let's try it. If you can see this on your page, congratulations, you're successful. You've got the project running locally. And we are now ready to dive into lessons 201.2 through 201.4. The documentation for each of these is already provided, and I recommend trying it on your own. Then we will cover each of these topics at live coding, and those videos will be posted to these lessons afterwards. I'm really looking forward to taking a look at this with you. Have fun exploring, and see you soon.